Made a video for a couple of days now, and it's not that I didn't want to, but work has just suddenly got absolutely crazy. I suppose it's the time of year. We're all trying to tie up all the loose ends before we go on leave in December. But just the kind of work I've had to deal with lately, I've been sort of thinking honestly that hackers are destroying civilization as we know it, or at least trying to. Because as fast as we patch systems for security, they break in and find new ways. And so, as development teams, everyone's caught running in this hamster wheel of trying to keep up with all the hackers. And the real difficulty there is that the hackers don't have any rules, so they don't need to raise a ticket to justify their changes, to justify anything at all. They just go ahead and they stay in their state of flow and code as fast as they can. Whereas in a corporate, you don't have that luxury. You have to play by the rules. You've got to get approval for things. You can't go straight to production. It still has to go through a testing cycle. So you're playing a losing game all the time. And quite honestly, I feel like regulators are getting it wrong, because instead of making penalties harsher and putting more teams in place to catch these nefarious creatures called hackers, they're instead over-regulating the commercial industry and making it our problem. And sure, you can make it the commercial interests' problems, but ultimately, who pays for that is the client and the customer, because we spend ever more time in just spinning our wheels trying to keep up with the criminals. And that's not to mention ordinary folk who have phones, smartphones, like my parents, who have to deal with these security issues every day, who don't know what it is to have to keep updated all the time and to be careful where they click and how they click and when they say okay, and when something asks for permissions, which permissions should they grant and which shouldn't they. It's an absolute maze. And I think we're heading for some kind of wall at breakneck speed. And I wonder in my own mind where this is all going to end. And yeah, honestly, sometimes I feel like the death penalty should be introduced for people who are caught hacking, because they really are destroying everything that is structure. And some people will say, well, the structure is just there to oppress us, and maybe it is, but it also is very convenient, because imagine if you didn't have money. How would you get stuff at the grocery store? Well, you'd have to barter. So you'd have to find something that you have that's worth something to the grocery store. And if you're a knowledge worker, what on earth do you have that's of value to them? If there weren't any money, they wouldn't need any systems. And we'd all go back to this kind of hand-to-mouth economy where you all grow veggies or you keep cattle, or and maybe that's not such a bad thing. But no, I think computer systems and structure make life a lot easier and make amazing things possible for civilizations, like airplane travel and video calling and trips overseas, being able to drive around in a car. All of these things are the result of having structure. So no, I think structure is not the problem. I think hackers are the problem. And if you're a hacker and you're watching this, well, shame on you. Get a real job and make the world better, not worse.